some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a Frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Hey guys, it's Mo. I'm back from Tennessee. I had a great time. Not so great reception in my hotel. I was planning on doing like what I did today streams and all of that. And it was technical stuff. I could not even figure out how to link my stream because I didn't take my my laptop. So I had a great time. It was great getting to meet some of you. Although when I got to the first meetup, I realized I probably should have asked people's real names because I was like, hello, excuse me, little receptionist lady who looks like she is confused. Do you have a party for the expert? And she's like, how about I just take you around to the large parties and see if you fit here? I found the party, but I realized forward planning might have been good. So good morning, Christine and Fun Diane, and absolute PSA, do not ride truckers behinds. I saw so many people driving like morons, and I tried not to be that moron. But if they can't see if you can't see the mirrors, they can't see you. Note to people. 80s Music Man Neon Gamer, good morning. Super T, good morning. Tammy CA and Jinx and M Spire. Wolfram, thank you for your modly mod duties. And let's see, Greedy Bloke, Slinky, if I didn't get you. Tammy Fayette, Denise Sells, Shore Creations, and everyone, good morning. Jedi Jess, and thank you for the stickers. They are awesome sauce. And if I wasn't so... I'm still burping Malort. I don't know who I need to talk to in the EU, but I feel like we should, get like pain and suffering for having to drink that. That being said, we've got a lot of news stories and a lot of true crime. Actually, today was kind of front stacked with a lot of true crime. Our first story is that fears of a New England serial killer are mounting as a 13th body was found in a small town. So I've kind of been giving you guys updates. Now, this is more of an internet sort of Facebook thing, but there have been extremely coincidental, or at least a pattern of finding semi-clothed or nude women in small towns around New England areas. And unfortunately, there is another body or another name to add to those potential victim list. Fears of a serial killer prowling New England are growing again after another woman was discovered dead under circumstances her family describe as suspicious. The body of Adriana Sazu, 21, was found by a passerby on June 13th in the woods of Milton, a Massachusetts suburb about 8 miles south of Boston, according to Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Now, it remains unclear what led to the death, as her body showed no sign of trauma, according to the state's medical examiner. But it has shown up and has been the 13th body to show up with little explanation in the bucolic Northeast region this year. I just want to know the truth about what happened to her, Sasu's sister told Fox News. I'm not accusing anyone, but her circumstances are suspicious. She was with someone either when she died or before. Now, the bodies, mostly of women, have been found across a wide swath of Massachusetts, Long Island, Connecticut, and Maine since March, with most of them turning up in wooded or secluded areas that wouldn't be kind of main thoroughfares. Which, look, if I'm going to put my new speculation hat on, courtesy of Dollywood, look, y'all, this was about the loudest one I could find. They had one with tassels, didn't quite. But if I'm going to put my speculation hat on, it does speak to at least a cursory knowledge of where bodies would be found, of where out of the way are places are. And thank you, Super T, for being a member of the Church of Mo for 3 months. Thank you for inviting me to be part of your morning routine. I love that. It was a little awkward. I'm not going to lie. And this is probably going to be the most duh of duh things that I didn't even think about. But I'm kind of always the person in my family who's behind the scenes taking the pictures. And I'm kind of okay with that. So it was a little bit of a different thing when people are like, oh, can I have a picture with you? I will say my walker got as many pictures as I did, but it was really interesting. I was at Dollywood with my, stand tall walker, and I had a bunch of people come by just real sweet and say, hey, can I send a picture of this to my mom? Or I think my dad would really like this. Or how do you like this? And it was so cool to meet people. And I will say, as I am completely off topic right now, if you need a walker or any sort of accessibility, I will say Dollywood impressed me beyond words with how accessible everywhere is. Especially, I think they had it built kind of with strollers in mind, but that meant that wherever I went, even inside or out, I didn't feel like I was going to knock something over or run into things. Things were spaced fairly well. So big recommend to Dollywood if you know someone with mobility issues. I will just say I found it to be very, very well organized for that. Back to serious stories. Now, the bodies have been mostly found in these sort of out of the way areas, which, if they aren't linked, it does show that people have sort of knowledge of these out of the way areas, and it wouldn't be someone I would think that would be passing through or without kind of knowledge of where bodies wouldn't be found. Now, the causes of death have varied from dismemberment to unattended deaths, but the volumes of body has sparked public speculation that there might be one perpetrator behind them. Now, those theories have simmered in a Facebook group called New England Serial Killer, with the, ever-growing body count fueling the fervor. Now, police and local prosecutors, however, have dismissed the claims that the deaths are, from one individual perpetrator, and they don't really have links forensically right now. Now, there's no information at this time to suggest any connection to similar remains discoveries. There is also no known threat to the public at this time. Connecticut State Police have previously told Fox News Digital and condemned the speculation as little more than internet rumors. Well, this is just a humble opinion, Connecticut police, but I think we have seen how citizen journalists, even in the, Karen Reed case, have brought forward, some new information and things like that. So internet rumors, I think, aren't something you can dismiss. And if they want to stop speculation, maybe they need to explain how these don't line up. Now, with the differences in the causes of death, that does give me pause. But I like a good conspirosity as well as the other one, any other person. Now, that hasn't stopped people from asking questions as bodies continue to turn up. Now, the first victim, 35-year-old Paige Fannin, was found on Connecticut's Norwalk River March 6th, the same day that a human skull was also discovered in a wooded area off Route 3 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Now, days later, a dismembered body of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser was found in a suitcase in Croydon, Connecticut. Now, Wormser's roommate was arrested but died in custody. Now, Denise Leary, 59, was found on March 25th in New Haven, Connecticut, and 56-year-old Michelle Romano's remains were discovered in a stand of Long Island woods the next day. Now, all of these have different sort of demographics and variabilities, and they haven't really delved deeply into the background and victimology of all of these. So I would hesitate to go on this is a super, Jack the Ripper remake. Also, stop putting people in suitcases. Do you understand how weird I felt when I was putting my suitcase together and I was like, I don't know if I should have a big enough suitcase to put, all my stuff in because people are going to think I'm doing something. Now, there were 4 other bodies found in April across Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, including the body of 45-year-old Megan Meredith. Now, before Sazo, the last body found was 35-year-old Jasmine Wilkes, who was found May 30th in New Haven Park. Now, Sazo's family said they're not sure what happened to her, but they are looking for the truth. So, again, I would say that it's a little premature without sort of things linking these things together. Unfortunately, you are going to find bodies. And since we're in a 24-hour news cycle, it leads when they find, a body, whether it would, have been linked or not. That's my take on it. But I hope this family does find answers and gets closure. I can't imagine losing someone so young, and all the other families get, the investigation they deserve. Well, Mr. Diddy has filed for a mistrial over allegations of false testimony in his federal court case about a 2016 balcony incident. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs filed a letter in support of a renewal for a motion for mistrial, citing prosecutorial misconduct, according to documents obtained by AP. Now, in the letter filed June 7th in the Southern District of New York, Diddy's legal team argued that the prosecution knowingly presented false testimony to the court. Well, I mean, we've all seen the Karen Read case. I thought that was just how you did cases now. Now, jurors heard testimony last week from Cassie Ventura's friend, Brianna Bana Bongolan, who claimed that Diddy had dangled her off of a 17th floor balcony in September 2016. Now, portions of her testimony were questioned after she couldn't remember details of the alleged incident, including what not street legal pharmaceuticals she was on. When the introduction of perjured testimony results in criminal conviction, the prosecution knew or should have known of the perjury, the conviction should be set aside if there's any reasonable likelihood that the false testimony would have affected the judgment of the jury, Diddy's team wrote. Moreover, the prosecutor's knowing use of perjured testimony can violate due process clause, even if it only undermines a witness's credibility. Now, Diddy's team wrote that Cassie and Bana provided demonstrably false evidence about the balcony allegation to the court, then doubled down using false testimony to obtain a ruling admitting inadmissible hearsay evidence about it as well to present a false narrative to the jury. Now, Bana took the stand on behalf of the government last week and testified against the Last Night rapper over the course of 2 days. Now, she confirmed she worked on the Bad Boy reunion tour, which was also in September 2016, but she couldn't remember Cassie or Diddy's travel schedule during that month. Now, Diddy's lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland, showed Bana documents to refresh her memory. The defense lawyer then asked if Diddy was on stage in New Jersey on September 25th, 2016, to which she said she couldn't recall. Now, Westmoreland asked if Diddy and Cassie were in New York on September 26, 2016, to which she said she was unaware and there was a brief sidebar. Westmoreland then asked if she was aware that Diddy and Cassie were in New York, and she said no. So it does look like there's some shenanigans that are going on in the Diddy trial. Whether the federal court is going to be more receptive to, due process and possible prosecutorial misconduct is anyone's guess. Shore Life Creations, he was fine and well, except he had drinking Malort the last time I said, well, the last time I'd seen him. By the way, still bringing that up, that thing has a longer shelf life than plutonium. Now, our favorite weirdo and, well, just absolute nut bar, Lori Vallow Daybell apparently cannot control herself in court. Apparently being a translated being is just too much, and no one likes being a translated being that isn't respected by a judge. Because, of course, a judge had Lori Vallow Daybell escorted from court this week after she argued with him during her latest attempted murder trial. Now, Lori is on trial again because of the state is alleging that Lori and Alex Cox got together to try to unalive her niece Melanie's then soon-to-be ex-husband or separated or estranged husband. Now, this is the one where he was getting into the car going from the gym and someone shot at him and actually hit his car. And he was able to recognize, I think, Tylee's Jeep and possibly point out Alex as being the possible person who was driving it. So I do wonder why Melanie isn't on trial, but I haven't watched any of that. And I barely was able to keep up with Dr. Wolf, in my hotel, so I'm not going to keep up with Lori. Now, a judge had Lori Vallow escorted, yes, I already read that, on Friday, June 6th, during what marked the second day of Daybell's Arizona trial over her allegedly conspiring to kill Brandon Boudreaux, her niece's ex-husband. Lori went back and forth with Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Justin Bersky over the inclusion of character evidence before a break. Now, in footage of the exchange shared by East Idaho News, Lori, who is representing herself in this case, was told by the judge that if she were to introduce, how you have a great character, it could lead to a discussion of what evidence can be brought in to rebut your, being a good person. Lori, I'm just going to say crazy heifers who unalived their children, husbands, and helped, take care of their lover's wife shouldn't throw stones. I don't think anyone's going to put you on, most likely to be kind if someone's in your way. So, not understanding that if she opens the door to saying, I'm the bestest person ever, there might be empirical evidence to refute that, and being delusional, crazy, and insane, well, she decided that she's still a good person and it should be includerated. Now, Lori has previously been found guilty of unaliving her 2 children. Yeah, that would be character evidence of you being an absolute swamp donkey heifer. So yeah, I wouldn't throw those things out there. Now, she was also found guilty of conspiring for her husband, Chad Daybell, to unalive his wife and then her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. The evidence brought in could include being convicted of 4 murders, Judge Bersky told Lori, so talk to your advisory counsel during the break. She's always such a... How can you be this hideous a person and always smirking like the secret code to, getting like free everything? One day, between Sarah Boone and Lori Vallow, if I had 1/10 of their confidence in all of their ridiculous situations, I would be a normal functioning human being. Like, how do you walk through the day, know you have this body count thinking, but I'm a Christian, washed in the blood, okay? That's not how this works, ma'am. I don't care if your God, your particular one that speaks in your head says you're forgiven. I'm pretty sure God doesn't he had that whole first 10 commandment things that you done broke nearly all of them. I mean, I don't know. I just read the first 2 books. Now, Lori interrupted the judge stating, "You don't need to yell at me," which prompted him to say, "Heifer, I'm the judge." No, that's what I would say. He said, "I'm not yelling at you. I'm just pointing out logic." And she's like, "It hurts my feelings." Yeah, you are, Lori replied, and you don't need to talk to me that way. Ma'am, the fact that people don't go around needing to have George Carlin and the 7 words you can't say on the FAA, you know, continuously bleeping. Now, if I were the judge, I'd call you whatever the hell I want and I'd talk to you whichever way I want because I'm not having it with you. But Judge Bearsky decided to be a better person and have her escorted out. I'd have told her, I'm going to tell you whatever I want. See, Volstorm, see, I won't go crazy on anyone but Lori. I think I can get the check and neck pregnant thing going. So, on a complete, and let me get this going, because it's probably just going to be more of a story day since I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the story about the enraged, redheaded, crazy pregnant woman at Dollywood. But here I am, just enjoying like a day where no one's asking me anything. Like I am not a mom, I am just Mo. I'm walking around in my handy-capable stroller. I'm doing my thing. All of a sudden, Expert comes running at me like he has found free pixie sticks on sale. Big old smile, and he's like, Mo, Mo. And I'm like, okay, what? What's going on? And he's like, you have to come here. There's a crazy pregnant lady. And I was like, no. So he points her out, and she is all of 94 pounds and 873 years pregnant. Now, I can tell you as, just a person who has at least 6 degrees in being pregnant and done, this woman in no way should have been trying to do Dollywood pushing a toddler, in... It was fairly humid. It was fairly hot. And apparently she decided that this would be the time to have that, honest talk with her mom about her life or something like that. But mother and daughter were screaming and yelling. Now, Expert decides that I should be pushed to the forefront to try to take care and restore order to this. And I'm like, do I look like Steve Irwin to you? I know she is 973 years pregnant, and I am in no way able to run faster than her right now. I am going to leave this far alone. But Expert's like, she's been pregnant a bunch. She could help. And all I was thinking, because I don't know if it was her husband, her boyfriend, her baby daddy. I don't know. I didn't put a label on it. He decided to take, said redheaded, pregnant menace away from her mother. Now, this would have worked, except both of these women were suffering from I have to have the last word itis. And to the point where I may or may not have shouted to said beleaguered male life partner, control your woman, walk her away. Now, that being said, I was like, I'm not getting in the middle of this. Even the security guard didn't want to get in the middle of it. Valkyrie was trying to point out which, said assaulter and assaultee were there. And he kept looking around like, wherefore art thou pregnant woman? I mean, she was not hard to miss. I mean, she was over here, redder hair than me, 973 years pregnant with some Daisy Dukes and like a tank top on. I mean, she was not hard to spot. And an Expert wanted me to lose my life because I have been 970,000 years pregnant, and someone tried to tell me one daggone thing. And I'm just saying, look, I'm smart. You shouldn't be out here in Dollywood. Why don't you go where things are cold and there's air conditioning like a movie? And you don't have to talk to people. It might be the best place for you and your mama to meet. That being said, I stayed out of it. Expert tried to put me in it. And I was like, I'm surrounded by lawyers who want to get me arrested in Dollywood. I mean, I felt bad for her because we were all looking, because again, she was not comporting herself with the behavior, but I know how it is to be at the very end of being pregnant and everything is just rubbing you the wrong way. and someone just decides to say that one thing, like that one little thing that is that one little thing too much when you just peed yourself a little bit because your baby decided to kick you in the bladder for the 85th time and you can't take a deep breath and you're sweating like like a me in church. So an expert just didn't understand the perilousness that he was trying to place me. I was like, expert, you forget this is fake red hair. I don't have the fire in my soul she has. She was a real redhead. That being said, if you're with expert and he wants to get you into a pregnant fight, just say no and walk away. And then when he starts yelling at you, look around like you're looking for someone else. Like, who is this Mo? Where is she? I will go find her for you. But it was a really great, and apart from all of that, I will say Dollywood, everyone who wanted to ride rides got to ride. And, they were fairly quick rides. I mean, I didn't go on the rides because I'm not a ride person. I had a great time people watching. Let me just say, in the first time I've ever worn a tank top, just a tank top outside, not like, with a little sun tee over it. And I was worried I was looking a little scandalous. There were some women there that if the Lord had decided gravity worked and their tube top got down, well, I mean, they were safe until the knees. And then once it fell past the knees, we were going to be some indecent exposure. Let me just say, wear what you want when you go to Dollywood, because I don't think there's a dress code. I thought there was going to be because Dolly's classy and rhinestoney, but no. I know I did survive peopling. I thought he wasn't being disrespectful. He just wanted me to get into a pregnant fight like I was going to. Pretty much. Because I know what would happen if you try to talk down a pregnant woman who thinks she is rightfully in her place to be, just mad. So I was like, no. Now, there are some people that I am willing to talk at, and with the help of my dearly loved friend, Lord Chippy, we've got so many for you today.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Actually, MG, me and Shizzy went together. I was in my walker and he was with his helmet, and we got free candy and a trip to a van. I don't remember much else, but we were pretty good. His trophy, convicted killer who dismembered woman on a first date, then deleted shocking photos of the victim from phone, may have been inspired by a Netflix show. Well, With Love Megan horrified me too, but damn. A jury in Wisconsin took less than an hour to convict a man of murdering a 19-year-old woman on their first date and then dismembering her. Maxwell Anderson, 34, was convicted of first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse. Wisconsin. What in the hell, and I mean this with all love and respect, is wrong with you? You've got Canabro, and you've got this dude now. You've got Daryl Brooks, and you've got Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, honest to goodness, I'm starting to call Wisconsin the Florida of the Midwest for a reason. So he also got mutilation of a corpse and arson of property other than a building in the April 2024 death of Sadie C. Robinson. Now, a quick key to a quick verdict, one juror told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, was the shocking and graphic photos that Anderson took on his phone that he later deleted, but were recovered by investigators. Now, one showed Anderson holding her right breast while she was either unconscious or dead on the basement floor, while various body parts washed ashore on Lake Michigan, beaches. And horrified beachgoers after her disappearance, cops have never found Robinson's torso. Now, this is his trophy in a way. Juror Melissa Blasco told the Journal Sentinel, those pictures will be in my mind for quite some time. Now, other photos showed him touching her butt with underwear and pants that the victim was wearing on the night in question. A photo that showed definitively that this was Robinson in Anderson's basement. That was pretty damning evidence that shook everyone, she told the paper. I physically felt like I was going to throw up at one point, and I know a lot of people were shaking and crying. Testimony during the trial also revealed that he had watched a Netflix animated series, Love, Death, and Robots. Now, after the trial, prosecutors told jurors about the second season finale where a corpse is dismembered on a beach. Really? I mean, yeah, so I've seen a lot of true crime and I've watched a lot of Lifetime and some Hallmark movies. It doesn't mean that I'm a small town, single mom in the middle of the country who's going to fall in love with the big baker who just needs to learn not to foreclose on the little family bakery and learns to love again. Just because he watched a thing, this is like, Grand Theft Auto is going to make them all crazy, or this, that, and the other, or D&D from the 80s. And then the one time my state gets the actual, could be a cult killing, we're like, no, one dude did it. I was lied to. In the 80s, we were told that these satanic, movies, these cults were everywhere. No goat, no woman, no single Christian child was safe. One time we actually get a daggone freaking, possible cult, overtone case. Is this one guy? That being said, I have not kept up with the Delphi. I know there's a lot of moving and shaking going on there, and I just haven't had the time to devote to it, so I do want to get back once Karen Read is over with. Now, Robinson's family reported her missing after she disappeared following her date. Her mother said she planned on keeping her daughter's voice alive by being an advocate for missing persons. She will forever be remembered as an angel, Sheena Scarborough told reporters following the verdict. Now, prosecutors proved at trial that Anderson spent months prepping his basement by covering it from ceiling to floor with painter's tarp, and there were also sanitation sinks and 3 saws. Now, the defendant faces a life behind bars when he's sentenced August 15th. Again, just let the family have him, save us taxpayers the money, or send him to Greenland and make it a reality show like the Hunger Games. As Law and Crime previously reported, the investigation began April 2nd, 2024, when someone found a human leg in the water at Warnemount Park in Cuddy, south of Milwaukee. Now, a joint investigation between the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and Milwaukee Police determined that Robinson's family reported her missing the day before when she had failed to show for work. Now, according to a criminal complaint, Anderson and Robinson met for the first time on April 1st to go on a date. Detectives reportedly obtained text messages of the two planning their date earlier that day, and surveillance video shows them meeting at a downtown Milwaukee restaurant and bar before driving to his home at around 9:30. Now, they were taking his Honda Civic to her house. And just a mama tip out there, I know, you guys are smart and you watch enough true crime, but meet in a public place and don't drive there in his car. Have a way to get away from a place. Anyone can fake being a normal human for 2 hours like this douche canoe, but don't go to a private place. Just don't. Be safe. Now, an app on Robinson's phone shows that it left Anderson's home shortly after midnight on April 2nd and later traveled to Warnemount Park, where the victim's leg was later found. Now, surveillance footage from the park showed a Honda Civic ramming through a gate around 3 a.m. and someone is seen going down to the water several times before leaving at around 4:30 a.m. Now, if this man had actually planned, he would realize that dropping, anything on a shore is going to immediately bring it back to the shore because waves and such. That being said, criminals being smarter than your average Netflix show is not something I need. So around 7:30 a.m., the Milwaukee Fire Department responded to 29th Street for a vehicle fire. Investigators later determined that that was Robinson's Honda. Now, cops discovered surveillance video from a bus stop that shows Anderson getting on the bus where the vehicle was torched and riding to a stop near his home, according to the affidavit. On April 6th, Milwaukee police found a foot and human flesh not far from the burned out Honda, and the foot and leg were confirmed to be from Robinson. You had 6 months to plan and you left this much evidence. This is not your sport, son. You got a whole lifetime in Gen Pop to figure out one, maybe curling. Or curling up into a ball after you pick up the soap. I don't really care what sport you get into as long as it's not with the rest of us. Now, a search of his home basement found blood in a bedroom and walls and a sort of sex dungeon. Now, authorities have continued to recover body parts in the ensuing months. Our hearts are with the family and loved ones of Sadie Robinson, Milwaukee Chief of Police Jeffrey Norm said in a statement. This is a horrendous tragedy above all else, and I cannot imagine the pain you must be going through. I would like it to express my deepest, most sincere sympathy. And let's go, Brandon, for a super chat. That's some BS, Mo. Just admit you were behind canceling trick-or-treating and leave the pot of Bill Cosby's casserole on the porch. I was. But if I admit to it on the interwebs, then Mr. Brennan is going to bring me in to Canton, and I can't serve prison time in Canton. I'm too nice. For now. Well, look, sometimes I'm nice. It's not all the time. And I can't be... Look, I don't know what I'll do if I'll, if I have to deal with Jen all day. Jen! That woman is nauseating. I don't know how anyone is married to her without being beatified. But then I think that of nearly all the women we've seen on stand from Canton. Also, little divers, whatever your name is, I really don't care. But until you've pushed a human out of your body and then had your bra become a stuffing place for Cheerios and Cheetos, and you've not slept in 18 years, you do not get that level of bitchiness, pass from me. I need you to see some life, find a crow's foot, learn that you've got 3 gray hairs coming in. I need you to have dealt with some life before you can pull the Tawanda attitude, okay? Because it's not cute when you're like 21 and you've not seen any of the world. Not cute. These 2 malignant tumors on the butthole of humanity hopefully will get a kind and warm welcome from Gen Pop. Parents who forced a 3-year-old boy to live in a dirty shed without electricity or running water for weeks hopefully get told by everyone, are we sure they're not siblings? They look awful lot alike. Have you ever met a couple that look kind of like they could be related? Or maybe it's just me, because I'm like, married or siblings? Or both. It's Georgia. A Georgia couple is behind bars after they allegedly made their 3-year-old son live in a dirty shed without any running water or electricity for a month. Joseph Matthew Turner, 35, and Sarah Elizabeth Pombert, 34, stand accused of second-degree cruelty to children. That's second degree. What the hell does first degree have to be? What? That's second degree? Let me have them and let me have access to one of those big old Nerf or tennis ball, things from American Gladiator. And I think we'll set this to right in about 5-10 minutes. Or I'll feel better, which I feel like is a win for everyone. Now, according to an arrest warrant made from Douglas County Sheriff's Office, both Turner and Pombert forced the boy to live in a shed behind their home on Judge Avenue in Douglasville, some 20 miles west of Atlanta, for about 3 weeks. Turner and Pombert caused excessive and cruel, both mental and physical pain to the boy by keeping him in a dirty living space without running water or electricity, left him unsupervised, unbathed, and unclothed. Again, there are people who are sitting here every month, can't have a baby, want a baby, would love to invite a child into their life. And then these douches get children, like pop them out like Skittles. And I know that sounds rich coming from me, but I've never left my kid in a shed for 3 weeks. So that being said, it is cruel to me sometimes. This is how fate or the universe or whatever works. And I really think as a society, if we could just step back and make adoption easier, the hoops, the money, and everything you have to go through, if there are people out there that want children, why do we make it so damned hard, or they have to be so damned perfect when these are the, sibling morons that get to have kids? It just pisses me off something furious. Now, the alleged neglect occurred between May 1st and May 22nd. And, Georgia's hot. It's incredibly humid and sticky. The fact that this child did not pass away from dehydration is a miracle in and of itself. Now, cops filed charges on May 29th and arrested the couple on June 2nd, according to records. A local ABC affiliate, WSB, spoke to the neighbor, Matthew Giovanni, who said that the shed burned down over Memorial Day weekend, which is what had sparked the investigation. There was a huge fire with explosions that destroyed the shed. Okay, speculation hat. Speculation. Is that because they were trying to turn Sudafed into, I don't know, crystal? I mean, these two have the look like they have maybe tried to steal anhydrous ammonia from a cornfield, allegedly in Minecraft. Now, Giovanni said that, didn't really detail the fire exactly, or how the investigation had found out of the alleged abuse. Now, the boy was not hurt in the fire, which is a small miracle. Giovanni said that the couple had lived next to him for about 10 years and were not the best neighbors, and he was not shocked about the allegations. With the lifestyle they lead, I'm not surprised by any of that, really. The neighbor said he does feel sorry for the boy. I'm saddened for them and the child, but for the child, I hope that they can go to a place where they can be helped. As of Sunday, both Turner and Pombert remain guests of Douglas County Jail. It is unclear whether they have a lawyer. Y'all, as your semi-legal friend from the interwebs, have you ever heard about pro se? I think you two are just the people to handle pro se. Take the child away, and I swear to God, CPS, if you try to put the child back with these stupid, moldering excuses for parents, I'm going to have something to say about it. And in possibly the most despicable thing I have seen, which is hard to top this particular story, but just in the abject cruelty and disrespect it shows, an LA family has been visiting an empty grave to mourn their mother for 4 years after a headstone mishap at the cemetery. And she looked like a beautiful, vivacious woman, and I can't imagine them misplacing your loved one. A grave error. Okay, New York Times, I will allow this, but that's a little punly, if you ask me. Loved ones who spent years grieving their beloved family matriarch at her Los Angeles burial site were horrified to learn that they had actually been visiting an empty grave the entire time due to, her headstone being misplaced, according to a lawsuit and reports. Now, the family of late Hasmik Dimerchen, who fled oppression from the Soviet Union in the 1980s for a better life in the U.S., spent the last 4 years coming to grieve, pray, and celebrate birthdays, even putting up decorations like a Christmas tree to an empty plot that had a headstone with her name, according to local reports. Now, Maureen Hemslick's middle child has been overwhelmed with guilt and shame for visiting the wrong gravestone. When she passed, I thought at least we've given her a peaceful, respectful place to rest, but seeing her memorial tablet placed on the wrong grave, I felt like I'd lost her all over again. We were just talking to an empty spot. No, I get that. I get that. But I do want to say she hears you. You know, the space is nice. And I get the anger and I would be pissed off and, spitting fire too. But all those years that you spent admiring and respecting and passing her stories, her life on, those haven't been in vain. They were at the wrong location. Don't feel guilty about that. I think it's nice that you keep her up. And a spa is not, for me, I know some people put very much attachment to different spots and things, but for me, the spot wouldn't matter so much. I would feel anger for going to the wrong place, but I wouldn't feel guilt on my own part for not knowing, because how could you? Now, after Hasmik died of a heart attack in 2021, her children buried her in one of the plots that the family had purchased in 2008 at the Hollywood Hills location of Forest Lawn Memorial Park. Since then, her children have been coming to visit the gravesite and commemorate a woman they described to NBC Los Angeles as the perfect mom. For a year, I was there every weekend, taking her flowers, sitting and talking to her, Marnie says. It wasn't until April, when the children had to bury their father, who had been happily married to his wife for several decades, that they realized that there had been a terrible mistake. Chris, Hasmik's son, told KTLA that during his father's funeral service, a mortician confessed to him that his mother's headstone was above an empty plot while her body was buried in a plot with no marker. The gravestone had been placed at space 1, while their matriarch was buried in space 2, one plot over to the right. Now, Lesko makes a pretty good point. I mean, when we, buried my mother-in-law, we were there when she was dropping in, but what year was this? Okay, so this was 2021. It was right around COVID, so I can understand why they maybe didn't see it. And thank you, I will check that out. But this was 2021, so it might have been at the height of COVID when, no one could see anyone. And do I want to talk about how destructive that was for families? Imagine losing someone and then having to make sure you're socially distanced and not be able to receive comfort. I will tell you that I'm not a big hug person. Y'all know this about me. Although I think I might be reformed now, because I actually gave Kaiser a hug all by myself. I think I might be seeing the light. But it was kind to have all the people in the receiving line come in and, say, this really sucks, or give you a hug. So I can't imagine to be denied that and then know that there was this mistake because you weren't there. It was an embarrassing moment and a violation of trust, Chris said, recalling the shocking confession. I felt betrayed because we've been speaking to an empty plot. Now, despite the cemetery fixing its mistake and moving the headstone to the right burial plot, the family has filed a lawsuit in hopes that a similar mistake can be avoided in the future. The Dimicharan family sued Forest Lawn Mortuary and Forest Lawn Memorial Park in association for fraud, breach of contract, negligence, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Again, yeah, I know. I was shocked myself. I might be becoming a person. It's weird. I don't know how to feel about all these new feelings. In my favorite story possibly ever, because Heifer needs free Dolly. I'm hoping that that's what her name was. But I say, justice for this cow. A cow attempts a fruitless escape from a livestock auction by scaling bleachers and destroying a roof. Spider cow, spider cow, spider cow, spider cow. Oh my gosh. Look, this cow just knows what happens. He has seen the Baconator and he wants no part. Actually, I think it's a she. Aren't most cows girls except like the one boy that you keep and the rest are steers? Which, I have a question for cow. Who decided, you know what? I got a great idea. We need some guy cows too. How about we just castrate them? Also, who gets that job? Is that like a first day job? Please tell me no, if in case I ever want to be a real cowboy. It was an utter disaster. I see what you did there, New York Times. I'll allow it this time. A cow tried to make a chaotic escape from an Arkansas livestock auction by gallivanting into the crowd and scaling into a set of bleachers, tearing down ceiling tiles along the way before it accidentally cornered itself. He's like, hell no. I've seen Super Size Me. The auction indicators quickly spiraled after the cow clumsily hoofed its way up the bleachers, according to a video filmed by attendees. Auctioneers flew out of their seat and flocked to the lower level of the indoor auction house. A few stragglers narrowly ducked away from the bleachers as the cow started knocking down ceiling tiles, including a man with 2 forearm crutches. Oh no, can you imagine being having crutches and an attack heifer is on its way? Get out of there, Leon, get out of there. Cletus, it's all over, they're attacking. They figured out where Hamburger came from. These are actual quotes. I'm going to try to say them without laughing. Get out of there, Leon, get out from there, said Ashley Buffer, who recorded the video, calling out to one of the attendees trying to evade the mad cow. Oh, Johnny's going the wrong way. If someone didn't yell, run, Forrest, run, then we missed an opportunity and I need there to be a reshoot. Now, finally, they were able to capture the cow and lead it out of the building. The beefy bovine have a nasty tendency to escape their enclosures and make it everyone else's problem. Now, in February, one cow decided to take a late-night stroll on a Florida interstate, and it took the assistance of several officers to take down the stubborn livestock, all while bystanders started to shout, "Free the cow!" To be fair, if I were there, I'd be like, "Go, Bessie!" One cow in Pennsylvania made it all the way onto a college campus and decided to terrorize students. I mean, that sounds like fun. I think we should have a running of the bulls in college campuses. I mean, change my mind. I think it would be funny. That being said, I'm sure people... Now, I'm going to go ahead and hard pass on this particular trend, even if I can get a six-pack. For my final story, I don't know if you need to lose weight, maybe, but why? It's a sardine girl summer, how the viral trend can help your heart, prevent Alzheimer's, and even make your hair better. You're still eating sardines, and I feel like they're glossing over you're still eating sardines. Fins up, tins open, and folks, it is a sardine girl summer. Now, I will say sardines are really popular if you're on keto or paleo. I just can't get over eating a fish looking back at me that isn't a goldfish. So, if it floats your boat, go ahead and eat sardines. Not my jam. The fishy trend has TikTok on the hook with its users posting clothes, accessories, home goods, and snack spreads that feature the humble, petite sardine. Now, soft and oily sardines have been a culinary anchor for centuries in India, the Philippines, Tunisia, Portugal, Greece, and Italy. Their briny beauty and they're typically sold in colorful decorative tins and has of late become to represent ease and vibrancy of the Mediterranean lifestyle. While Sardine Girl Summer is largely an aesthetic movement, experts say the cold water fish is packed with health benefits. Well, I will say to add a sort of touch of brininess or salt, I have been known to grind up sardines in certain dishes, but just eating them on their own, no. The small but mighty sardines pack a nutritious punch both for what they do and don't include, registered dietitian Ashley Croft and founder of Better Nutrition Program told the Post. She noted that because sardines are smaller, there is less concern for mercury exposure. They're also rich in EPA, DHA, and omega fatty acids, which are, part of anti-inflammatory and heart health benefits. That's what you say today. Next week, it's going to be beef tallow instead of sardines, and then I'm going to have to go, get tallow somewhere. Now, omega fatty acids have been shown to increase gray matter in the brain, which may combat the development of neurological disorders like Alzheimer's. And there are further evidence and studies showing that the acids might reduce the risk of eye disease. Now, I like a lot of weird things, but I'm not getting into the sardine fad. Y'all can have it, although I would wear that purse. So maybe I'm lying to you, but I would wear the purse. It's a conversation piece. Like this, that Mr. Mo doesn't know he bought me for my birthday yet. It's a purse. It's a guitar of many colors from Dolly Parton. I mean, hello, goodbye, and happy birthday to Mo. That being said, he will find out when I confess. Although he doesn't really notice my purses, so I think it'll take him a while. Now, sardines are also swimming in marine collagen, a type 1 collagen that is particularly beneficial for skin, both and tendon health. It can also, be nature's aspirin. They contain B12 and calcium. And thank you so much, KDP, for being a member for 11 months. I had a great time. It was really nice, and it was nice just to be with people. And here's the cool thing about our group. And it was really nice for this to be my first time to kind of take my stroller out. Everyone knows what my struggles are. So when the group saw me in the walker, I was just Mo. And it was really cool, as much as I was really self-conscious about having to have the walker. Several people came up to me, and a couple even asked if they could try it out. So as much as I was really worried about it and really self-conscious, it was great. And a couple of people actually are taking either themselves or their parents. Now, I did tell them they do sell those upright walkers on Amazon, but go to your local medical supply stores so you can actually try it out. So I will say it was really cool, and I just had a great time. It was nice to be around adults and everything, although I will say probably next time I will try to room in a cabin with a bunch of people. I didn't spend $500 that you know of. So there you go. If you want, there are a lot of health benefits to sardines. You can eat them whole, but a lot of people will, mash them on in different things, kind of make a sardine paste. It's actually fairly big in a lot of Mediterranean cooking. You might have had sardines and not really noticed. But I mean, if you like them, they seem to be really good for you. I'm just going to go ahead and keep my Spam as my weird canned food that I really like that's a bit shameful. That being said, there is a new viral Spam recipe that I think my boys would like, so I'm going to try it out in the air fryer. And welcome, Granny Smith. Thank you for being a member. Actually, I'm a terrible mom. I didn't buy anything for the kiddos. Normally, I buy a bunch of stuff, but at Dollywood, I didn't see anything that the boys would really like. And my girls and I tend to have such different fashion sense that I don't know. So yes, Alice G, it was my first time meeting up. My kids are like, so you're not meeting Mr. Beast? Apparently, I disappointed them. They thought I was going to meet up with Mr. Beast and probably get a lot of candy bars. I had to explain to them that experts kind of like Mr. Beast and that he has a lot of candy, but isn't insufferable. They were not impressed. They're like, people are going to meet you? Why? I was like, I don't know. We are just going to go have fun. And they're like, as adults, what do you do for fun? Are you going to watch Trials? My boys were incredibly happy that at least I wasn't going to watch trials and I was going to go places because they're like, you adults are weird. You sit still and, just, talk. I'm glad they didn't watch Friday night, but I'm going to let you guys go over to Karen Reed. It's probably already started. I'm going to head over there and give Marissa, some help because, she's been holding down the fort for us. Thank you so much. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire. Because one day someone might encourage you to interact with a hostile, angry, 90-pound pregnant woman, and you have to be able to say, no.